Apologies if you can hear any birds in the background. They are rather loud this evening. This is Weinstefane. This is a German wheat beer, and I believe I've had this in a previous video. I think it was my model aeroplane building, but it is my favourite German beer, and so I thought I would have it again. Now, the first time I had this beer was on a school trip to Berlin. Our school ran a history trip where we would go to Berlin and see all of the various museums, but they gave our parents a warning that they would let us drink alcohol on this trip. If you're not from the UK, you may not be aware that the age you need to be to drink alcohol is 18. In Germany, it's only 16. So, our teachers decided to let us actually drink on this trip. The trip itself was an all-expenses paid trip, so we could eat and drink as much as we wanted. Needless to say, it was less of a history trip and more of a trip where we discovered the joys of German beer, and it turned out rather messy. I'm not sure if they still run the trip nowadays, but it was thoroughly enjoyable. And I discovered my love for this beer. So, German sandwiches. I will not be making Mettbrötchen. It's a rather infamous sandwich or food in Germany where you would take a bread roll like this, cut it in half, and then spread raw ground pork on it with raw onions. Now, from my own research, the raw pork used in Mettbrötchen is quite strictly controlled in Germany, and most pork in the UK is meant to be cooked, so I did not trust it for Mettbrötchen. But I will be making 2 sandwiches today that I hope are delicious. So, the first sandwich I will be making is, and I'm probably pronouncing this terribly, Drei im Weggla, or Drei im Weggla, I'm not sure. Delicious beer. And it's a very simple sandwich. As far as I'm aware, this is like a street food, which is from Nuremberg. And so, first things first, I need to cut this in half. Just get rid of some of the crumbs. And I wasn't sure whether this needed to be buttered, but I believe it's not, so I will not be buttering this. The next thing I need some sausages. I have here some chipolatas, some pork chipolatas, that I have just fried off, but I believe these are meant to be cooked on like a charcoal grill or something like that, but I have some sausages. Now, the Drei im Weggla means 3 dry, but this is quite a big bread roll, so I'm actually going to use 4. So it's not entirely correct, but I don't want to underfill the sandwich. And then, as I said, this is a very, very simple sandwich. So the only other ingredient is some mustard. So this is just an American style mustard, and I believe that's the closest comparison for the appropriate mustard to use in the UK. And I think you're meant to use quite a bit. All of the pictures online seem to suggest it's quite a lot, so I think that should be enough. And I might just tear this, just cut this piece of bread here. If I can cut it. There we go. So, there we have it. Drei im Weggla. And of course I'll do a taste test at the end of this video. The second sandwich, well, I think it's a sandwich of sorts. Strammer Max. So, the first thing I need to do for Strammer Max is to cut a single slice of this bread. It's actually a rye sourdough, which I'm not hugely keen on rye bread, but it is the correct bread to use, I believe, so I've opted for this. I think there is some normal kind of flour in there as well, but it has rye flour, so I think it's the correct bread to use. So I'm going to cut, and I'm going to cut it slightly diagonally, because this is not the biggest kind of, you can see the cross section of the loaf is not very big, so there's a fly flying around, and he is annoying me. It's a small fruit fly. If he comes closer I will kill him. Right, so I'm going to cut this diagonally. this is falling apart. So, I think where this is only a small piece of bread, one piece will probably be enough. Then I need to add the fried egg, which is slightly overcooked, but that's okay. There we go. Then I need to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. There we go. So we have our Drei and Weggla, although there are 4 sausages, and our Strammer Max. So let's try these. I will try the Strammer Max first. I'm just going to cut this directly down the middle. And we have a nice runny yolk there, which is how I like it. So I'm just going to give this a try. I'm just going to attack this end, I think. It's probably still quite hot. So I will often have like a bacon and egg sandwich. It's very similar, just a bit more crunchy, a little bit more sophisticated, but it's solid. I'd give it like a 7 or 8 out of 10. With the beer, let me just see how that is. Yeah, solid combo. So delicious. Now, so the yolk is really rich. Right now, the Drei Weggla. I'm just going to try and cut this. Oh, it's fallen over. But there we have it. Kind of looks exactly as you would expect. So let's see what this is like. I'm making a mess everywhere, but a bit different. So with the vinegar, much more kind of acidic. Equally, I think both of these would be fantastic with the beer. You know, you've got quite strong kind of meat flavours, and yeah, wonderful. So I give them both probably like a 7 out of 10. I have actually done kind of a similar thing to that before, and so I knew what to expect, and as I said, very similar to a bacon and egg sandwich. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed. I am now going to go away and enjoy these very much. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you